Welcome to Stable and Scale, one of the places where you can learn and share wisdom. I am Lakshman. Today we are going to see how to deploy your .NET 6.0 API to cloud via Azure DevOps. The things we will be seeing is first the prerequisites, second setting the connection between Azure DevOps to GitHub. The third thing we will be seeing is we will be building a connection between the cloud, which is actually Azure I am going to use, with and the Azure DevOps. Fourth thing, we will be creating the classic pipeline to deploy our application to Azure. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Let us see the prerequisites. It's number one is GitHub account, or where you want to place your code. You can either have a Azure DevOps account where you can push the source to the Azure DevOps. And for a deployment in cloud, I'm using Azure. You can use as per your wish. So without wasting any time, let's jump and create the connections between GitHub and Azure DevOps. So this is my Azure DevOps account. So I have created an organization via options this, and I created a project via clicking the project information and make it public so that you can able to view it. So this is the project. So I have, in by default it will get boards, pipelines, source codes, all the stuff. So I have disabled the boards and the repos which I am using my code on GitHub. If you want to push your code to this Azure DevOps project, you can enable it and push the code to this Azure repos, where you can directly integrate into the pipeline, which means you don't need a GitHub to Azure DevOps connection. But my case, I'm gonna create a connection. So this is the one option, service connection. You need to click and you need to select GitHub and next. And I'm going to have an authorized pipeline, and I will click it. So it will be redirecting to the Azure DevOps, and with the stable and scale grant. So this is the source code which I am having it. So for first .NET 6.2 API, which is been created in the last video. If you need to check it, I will add the link in the descriptions. So this connection is being searched and I will be saving it. So you can see the GitHub Lakshman has been created. The first thing I am going to do is, the next thing is we need to create a connection between Azure DevOps to my Azure cloud. So for that, I will be creating the same connection, and I'm gonna with the Azure Resource Manager. Click next. Can have a lot of options for automatic, manual, manage identity, and you can even push the publishing profile of the web app to here. So I'm going with the default automatic option, so it will be easy. And what it will happen here, it will create a service principal in Azure. So this is the subscription, and this is the Azure, this is the storage account stable underscore scale, and this is the web app I previously deployed. So it will authenticate. So it's a MCD subscription, and I need to select the resource group, for which resource group I am able to add a provision. Let's give some time so that it will open. And cancel and get it. Next. It will load my subscription based on the account which I logged in. So let it get loaded. We will pause for a second. Once it gets loaded, we will get started. So the resource group has been populated after some authentication with Azure account. So our resource group is stable and scale. That is where we am gonna create. So we need to have a name for it. The name may be stable and scale Azure. So this is the name, and I am gonna save it and clicking grant all permissions to this pipeline. So it sets up access for all the pipelines which is being created in this project will have access to that service connection. So once the setup connection is done, we will have a service connection here. So what the code we will be using is, this is the one, the .NET first .NET 6.0 API. So before getting to it, and I'm gonna create a resource for us to deploy that app. Okay, I'm gonna create a new web app. So there will be a lot of options that recently created. So I have created a web app, create a web app with this subscription with the name actually net API via DevOps. So I should not have underscore there. So okay, taken that one off. The app has been available, so I'm gonna select the stack, which is .NET 6.0 with Linux options. Not in it's in Central India, where I already have a resource group there with the name R&D multi-tenant. So with the basic, I will go next. You can even directly connect with GitHub Actions. I will have a separate video for this, how to connect with GitHub Action directly via GitHub. So for this, I'm going to deploy it via Azure DevOps. So because most people need provisions and authorization so that they can manually handle the deployment. So I need application insights. Then the tags, if you need, you can have it. If you are having a huge chunk of web apps and you need to categorize with the tags, tags is the best one for you to categorize those things. And I have created submitted for creations. Meanwhile, let's go to the pipeline or create a pipeline. Here you need to select GitHub, and I am going to do with the classic options. We'll have separate video for how to deploy it via YML. So select GitHub, and I need to select the repo here, which is first. I need to change. Stable and scale. Here it is. So and this is the master. So I don't have any other branch, it's only master. I'm gonna click continue. So it will ask me for a configuration as code as YML, so I can apply. But for my case, this is a simple .NET web app, so I'll be using the .NET Core. So because at the 6.0 I need .NET Core for it. I'm gonna click and apply. So I need to specify which system. If you prefer Ubuntu latest, and this is stable skill.net, and I'm connected with this with zip deployment. Let's save and queue it. So this will create an artifact for me to make a deployment for the Azure. Okay. So in the meanwhile, let's go to release and create a pipeline for deploying to Azure. So our resources got started. It won't take that much of amount of time, so let's wait for a few. Let me pause for a few seconds. Once deployment is build is completed, we will resume it. So the deployment is completed within 23 seconds. So it restored our package, it built our application, and I had a test. So I don't have test cases here, and published an app, and our artifact is actually ready. It's ready to drop. So now I will go and create a release pipeline. It's better to have a different pipelines for build and deploy, so it makes easy for you to manage. So as default template, I'm gonna use Azure app service deployment. So I'm gonna deploy. So next thing is give some good names. If you are running in the production environment, give it stage, QA, and production. So I'm gonna make it as demo, and I'm adding an artifact. Artifact indicates connected with a pipeline. So I'm gonna select Azure.NET Core and making an alias name and add it, and we can have a automated deployment. I'm gonna select the subscription already created, so it will be, let's get this, stable scale Azure. So my app is not a Windows, it's for Linux. You can specify this, and based on the type it will load our apps. You can see .NET API via DevOps. So this is our application, and it's deploying via agent hosted this, and keep this one as it is, as its basic as default. So it, and if you have a advanced option, you can make a slot deployments right away here. And the runtime stack is .NET 6. And if you have any post deployment, and if you need to have any app settings or configuration, you can add it here. It will directly go to the deployment with the variable options here. Okay, so now I'm just gonna copy this name, so it makes an CI, which is continuous integration and continuous delivery, CG. So there was no start command, and I'm gonna save it. I'm going to create a release pipeline with that code. So it started releasing. And if you need have any variables which need to be changed via Azure DevOps on deployment, you can add a library, and you can connect the libraries here, and you can even add a variables which pointing to which scope, which is demo, or if you have multiple stages, you can specifically define for a specific stages. Okay, so let's go pop out and click and see what's going on. So this is getting my artifact first, and then starting deploying to the Azure web app. So it will take a huge amount of time as initially, but as states, my deployment is almost there. And if you are deploying your application for the first time on .NET, it will take a bit of time. Just be patient. So it will take about 2 to 3 minutes for your deployment. So there will be 4 tasks. All the task has been completed. Now the API has been deployed. So let's come here. So this is the app, right? So let's copy it and open it here. And if you want to see some stream logs, you can use the stream logs options here, which will get all the logs. So we do have Swagger, but it won't open. So let's go for code and get what's the controller. So this is the controller. Let's copying it and pasting it here. You can see the data is coming up. So let's, and it's get deployed. So I will give a different option right here. Same as, and the view which we able to see. Super. So this is the plugin I'm just used up for a JSON viewer, so it's getting pretty much good. If not, this will be the output for you. So I can see there was a date, temperature and Fahrenheit. This is a default weather forecast API with default options. So with this we have deployed our .NET 6.0 API via Azure DevOps, with connecting establishment via GitHub to Azure DevOps and Azure DevOps to Azure, and we created a classic pipeline on to build an artifact and released to Azure via release pipelines. With this, you can start creating your pipelines via Azure DevOps for .NET 6.0 app or API for deployment. If you enjoyed it, kindly give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification on so you won't miss out any new video. Until then, I am Lakshman signing off. Enjoy coding.